Welcome to Ordinary People Doing Extraordinary Things, the podcast of Greater Princeton. And for those that are not aware, Senior Care Services of Greater Princeton is a nonprofit. It's an organization that engages volunteers to assist homebound seniors to age gracefully in place and to persevere and preserve their independence by providing transportation, food shopping, and friendly visits. And we also have some wonderful sponsors for this episode: Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Fox and Roach Realtors, Donna Murray, Pinky Shaw Mortgage Team at Fairway, Walsh Senior Solutions, On Air Brands, and Kathy and Mike Castellano. I am so excited to share my very special guest today. We are here in her store, which is exciting to be here live. I have Miss Susan Carella. She is one of the co-owners of Carella's Chocolates. Welcome, Susan. Thank you for having you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here with us, and we're excited to support senior services.
Yes, it's so exciting to be here in person. And one of the things that's really interesting about your company is it's been around for about 100 years. Is that correct?
Yes, it has.
Yes, it has. That's almost unheard of. Can you tell us a little bit about the story? How did this start? Grandfather came over from Italy, correct?
Yes.
Tell us from the beginning.
My husband's grandfather came over from Italy through Ellis Island, and he was a cobbler. He opened a cobbler store on Hamilton Avenue down in Trenton in 1921. And then they opened a family, not a family store, children's store in the front, just children's shoes. And then moved out here to Mercerville and opened a family store. They've been in business for collectively between the two stores. In 1972, they moved next door and opened a Hallmark store. And between the two stores, it's been over 100 years. We've been in Hamilton serving the community.
For over 100 years.
Yeah.
Do you know the reason for why your family when?
Do not know that. A grandmom was and I just always found it a very fascinating story, and it was a very big family, and my husband is one of 8 children. So, and it just grew, and we kept going and serving the community and working with the different
It's important to talk about it as a family business, June's family, but you have been a part of the family for, you said, what, about 43 years now?
I've been married for 43 years, just a month ago.
Congrats.
And thank you. And we've been, I've been part of the Corella family for 47 years. So, all together. So it's a great thing. And I've been with, for 37 years in the business. So
what made you, when you married your husband, did you know this a big part of it as you are today?
I did not.
So what made you get involved?
Timing. I was working and stayed home to raise our family because in the beginning, my husband was working every night till 9. That's what we did. The stores were open till 9 o'clock. Then everybody was open. And I stayed home to raise the kids. And then when my son started school, I was thinking of getting a part-time job. And Connie said, I need you. So the rest is history. I've been here 37 years with her. And I wouldn't change it either.
Yes, I love that. And I think, when you think about brick and mortar businesses, they've changed over the years. Can you talk a little bit about how they've changed, from when you started to before the pandemic, and then we'll get into that, but where you've kind of seen the change for better or for worse for brick and mortar?
Well, in the beginning, it was you only went to brick and mortar stores. Mm-hmm. You shopped local, you didn't go anyplace. And then it just started to be where people would shop online. And, it was easy. It was convenient. And as that grew, the mortar, people found it easier to go to the computer and type in and just have it delivered to their door. I learned how to do that when the pandemic came myself. But it's... You just watched it grow, but we managed to survive, all these years and what you do.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that is what makes a business so grow to pivot. Can you maybe give some example you've pivoted over the years and allowed yourself to succeed for so long?
Well, when they started down here on the first floor where we're sitting was nothing but cars. Upstairs was, as my sister calls them, nutty natties.
What is it?
Them and their walls of precious stones. But times change. People bards in the grocery store, and people, you know, they just were, convenience became everything. The young people, my children included, when they got married, they didn't want Lennox. So you had to, you just have to change, because everything that was popular when I became married, when I got married, wasn't popular, you know, later. So you change things a little bit, and it's actually good. So then you get more, you have a variety. So now we have a lot of different little things that you can find and pick up.
But I think, you know, when we talk about change, whether it's personally or professionally, it's a lot in your mind and really challenging, because if somebody's done something for years, family business, they're used to want to keep it that way, they don't want to change anything. How do you and your team members, your family, get into that mindset to say, okay, we have to change? And how do you maybe convince each other when maybe you're not ready or don't want to?
It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. And then sometimes you just make a decision and say, we're going to do it. And then it's like, okay, like I have to say there were times that Connie said, oh, well, let's do this. And I'm like, oh, I don't like that. When the candy came downstairs, I wasn't really, I thought, oh, that's not going to work, because it was up on the balcony. But we added chocolates. We needed more floor space. So we did that, but it was the best thing. And so many people came in the store and said, when did you get candy? That had been shopping here for years, but they, you know, you walk in the door, you go get you what you want, and you leave. So there's, you just change and then pray that it works.
Yeah. And I think what's interesting is you talked about when you're change the space, it has to be ones up front and noticing people see it more.
Is everything.
Yeah.
And you just move things around, and something might not sell, and then you move it and people see it for some reason. You know, there's no real reason. Really, there isn't a real reason.
Maybe we don't walk around and we notice. Yeah, that's interesting. As we're sitting in your store, it is kind of these two levels. There's about 5 or 6 steps that lead to a second level. And it is interesting, like you said, to walk in and you see the chocolates right in front of you, or seeing some of the gifts up top. When we talk about the last year and a half with the pandemic, it hit everyone hard, personally and professionally. And I think brick and mortar more than anything else, small business more than anything else. What did your company do well that you think has allowed you to stay in business and continue what you're doing during that time?
Well, we pivoted a lot. Our online sales, we went big with our CorellaChocolates.com. And then we were doing, we never did flowers before. And when it happened, it was right before Easter, and you couldn't come in. People were ordering, we were doing curbside, and it just worked. And then we were doing flowers, and people liked the flowers. So we actually brought the flowers back this year for, you know, the main like Mother's Day, we brought them back. We don't have them all the time, but we just tried, and then we would let a couple people in, just like everybody was doing. It was a little easier as far as you could call and say, I want a pound of chocolate covered cherries. For some stores, you can't. They pride themselves in really good service. You go in and you get fitted. It's kind of hard to go hard for everybody. The township, sure we were okay, and we're reaching out to people. So there's a lot of gratitude to the township, our mayor and his department, because they really kept track of us, and to see, because it was very hard. It was, I will say, very scary, and it's not over. You know, it's of the community, and, you know, it's getting us through it.
Yeah. And you were talking about the flowers. Was that something that you partnered with someone else and worked together? Or did you just say, hey, we're now selling flowers, we're going to do it ourselves?
We did it ourselves. Connie went out to a local vendor, and they delivered the flowers, and then, you know, we sold them, you know, so it was a wholesaler of flowers, and we got them from him, which worked out for him, because at the time people weren't able to go to him either.
Mhm.
So it was kind of, you know, it worked well like that. And we worked with a lot of people. We did whatever we could do. You just did. I shopped local. If
Mhm.
I could not, and the only reason I went online locally to support the small businesses, the local businesses, they're the backbone of the communities. And you know, we prided ourselves in that, and I think it's helped. Unfortunately, some have not survived it for one reason or another, and we are hanging on, and we're going to be here another 100 years. Well, maybe not 100.
I think that mindset that you and your family have is the ideal entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is somebody who adjusts, who says, okay, there's a problem, I'm going to make it work. And a lot of reasons I think businesses didn't succeed, despite the craziness of the pandemic, was they didn't want to pivot. They didn't want to change. I've even seen people where they adjusted and then they're like, oh, it's kind of over, let's go back to normal. But other people were like, but I liked that service. Why are you getting rid of it? Again, is that something, do you think, like, is that how your husband is? Is that how your whole family is? That everybody has this concept of, we're going to do whatever it takes to make it work?
We do. That's exactly right. There's a lot of hard times. You can't. Business is easy today, or has ever been easy. But we'll do what it takes. You know, it's, and you're in it together. You know, we're a big family, and there's a lot of family businesses out there that are all in it together. And you work, and there's tears, and there's a lot of laughter, but you make it work somehow. And I'm proud of it. I couldn't be happier with the family that I'm in. And it's just a great opportunity. It's hard, you know. There's a lot of we have a lot of children. There are immediate family, brothers and sisters, and my nieces and nephews and great nieces. There would be 75 people.
Is everyone involved in the business? Because you don't have just the chocolate store, you have the shoe store, you have some other things as well in the past and now. Is everyone somehow involved and integrated?
No. Yeah, the kids are not. And that's not a bad thing, because you give up a lot. Anybody that owns a business, I give them a lot of credit, because you give up a lot of family time. My husband did not see the kids at baseball games and things like that. We're enjoying grandchildren now, and doing that, but you sacrifice a lot of time. So, you know, the kids have all helped out at one time or another. If you need help, they're here to help you. Sister. If you need something or you're doing something, everybody's willing to help. Kids are for somebody else. It's because I will tell you this. For instance, I have customers that have my cell phone number. People get you at all times of the day and night, and they have my number, and we give those things out because we want them to be able to get it. You know, we pride ourselves on customer service. Yeah.
It makes a difference. I actually, I have owned businesses in the past. My dad owns a business, so I grew up, in that family element as well. What would you things about working with family and maybe the hard things? Because there's versus coworkers that you just kind of were put together. So what's kind of the great pieces and what are maybe the harder pieces working with family, you think?
You put me on the spot. I would say the hardest thing is you work and play, and that's hard because there are times that it's normal. It's normal wherever you work that you might leave one day and think, I'm going to shoot that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just
but
get
then
frustrated.
they're also the person that you're playing with and you're, and that's a hard thing sometimes. But you kind of you step back and say, okay, you know what? It just like if you worked for the state or something, it's over, it's done with, and you get on to the next thing. So that's a hard thing.
Yeah, I've seen that, like I said, with my own family. There's moments, it's that love-hate, just because you're sometimes, it comes from that place of passion. You're so passionate about what you do and you want your voice to be heard and you want the company to do well, that sometimes it also comes out as frustration.
Right.
So I can definitely understand. The online sales, because you had to during that time, ready doing that beforehand.
Actually, Connie did our website, I'm going to say a year and a half before the pandemic hit. But it blew up when the pandemic came and really took off. We ship all over the country and have corporate accounts across the country that we ship to. People found us by Googling chocolates, and people, I guess they were just looking for things and you couldn't go out.
Yep.
So, people found us that didn't know we existed, and some are in our neighborhood.
Well, it's, I don't know if you saw or you did them, the hot chocolate
bombs.
Oh my gosh, those were such a big deal. And I first saw them on TikTok. There was people that showed them, and then all of a sudden everybody had them. Then there were classes of how to make them. They were selling them. And so people, like you said, were looking for things to do. We're looking for something different. Was that the kind of thing you guys did? Or I know we're going to have some that we show that you do here, but what type of things did you add?
Yes. The hot chocolate bombs we did do. And I heard about them first and I said, Con, and she's like, oh, I'm not doing that. Then we decided, okay, we're going to do it. It was like, it took forever to get the molds for them, but then you couldn't, everybody wanted them. And they are really good. I have to say they're really good. But then we had a company call us and they were looking for somebody to fulfill their products. And it was 1-800-Flowers. They actually do fruit arrangements, and asked if we would be interested in being their fulfiller. We do like 15 to 17 mile radius, and it also includes Sherry's Berries. So Connie has become a designer of arrangements. It's actually really good. The only difference in 1-800's and us is we use our Belgium chocolate. So instead of using the chocolate that 1-800-Flowers would provide, we use, and they said to use yours. It's a really good chocolate, and it's what Joan makes and prides herself on. So we use the Belgium chocolate on that, and that is crazy. Every day we're out delivering arrangements.
And this is associated with the 1-800-Flowers?
1-800-Flowers. If you went to 1-800-Flowers and you wanted to and on the zip code you picked, if it was in our sending, we would get the order. Or you can order, you could call and say, I want a $50 arrangement. We actually had a woman today we delivered for. She was sent an arrangement last week by somebody, said she liked it, and she called and just ordered it through me. And, so we can do that. And she liked the arrangement. So we, duplicated. I could look up what she got, and I duplicated it, and she sent it to somebody that was ill. So
that is so smart. And I'm going to ask you a question on that in a moment. But we are doing a chocolate giveaway. So if you are watching live, you can type in the answer to our question, which is, what do you think is the busiest chocolate holiday? What do you think is the busiest chocolate holiday? The first person to get it right will be able to get this lovely plate of chocolate. You can pick it up in the store. It is located in New Jersey. And while you are answering some of that, I just want to also show one of the things that you do that I think is really cool. We'll show this one, and then you have a bigger one here. Can you talk about where this concept came from and why people seem to kind of like these chocolate covered wine glasses or champagne glasses?
The idea came from a customer.
Mm-hmm.
I have to give credit where it's due. Asked us if we dipped bottles in wine, in chocolate. A while, but it's it. People were getting them, and then give them. I just got this great gift, and it's actually the Belgium chocolate. As I'm here on the premises, they take about 3 days. Depending on the time of the year it is, because the chocolate has to be tempered correctly in every time. But people love it, and I do favor them for weddings and things. But the chocolate is on. It is not, for anybody that doesn't know, it is not right against the bottle. We do a safe bag. The chocolate isn't right against the bottle, and it's safe and it's into big chunks. So it's really,
so wine
really
and
cool.
chocolate isn't too bad.
Right. And we've dipped 2-liter bottles of diet soda. We dip beer bottles, anything anybody wants, and it
can be dipped in chocolate. Yeah.
Yes.
Add a little extra to it. I like
Absolutely.
it. And you also have back here as well. These are my favorites. You have these chocolate covered strawberries, and I'm going to try to show them a little bit. So you have chocolate chips on them. You have dark chocolate, milk chocolate. Then you've got like what looks like
pink chocolate.
pink chocolate. Yeah. These are always my favorite. I could eat these all day. Would you say that those are probably maybe your most popular?
Strawberries are very popular.
Always, yeah.
Especially at Valentine's Day and the holidays, like not this year because it was a little different.
Yes.
But the year before, I think it was close to 200 pounds of strawberries that she dipped. She was all day. She was dipping. It's like crazy.
And those are,
they are really very good. Really very good.
They're definitely my favorite. Before we show our answers, so we have some people have Mother's Day as an option, Easter. Let's see who else. And then we do have a couple people that did say Valentine's Day. These two people wrote at the same time. 7:51 exactly. Do we make one for both? What do we think?
Do we know one of them? One of them is a family.
Yeah. So we have Claire.
Yes.
Claire said Valentine's Day, and then Adriana.
Yes. We'll do one for both of them.
All right. So both of you guys, Claire and Adriana, both ladies, you got it correct. Valentine's Day is the busiest chocolate season. Although I'm sure for Mother's Day and Easter and Christmas and all of those, it's also quite busy.
But chocolate is big on Valentine's Day. That's
Day,
all
yes.
Anybody, that's your biggest thing.
Yes. So you can write to Senior Care Services. They will connect you with Corella's chocolates to be able to pick up your prize in store. So congrats. We appreciate that. I want to go back for a second because I think one of the things that I'm so impressed about what you and your family like real other ways to bring in revenue.
Mm-hmm.
I think first of all, that way reach out is huge, and to say yes, we'll figure it out. We'll just figure it out. We'll do it, and then we're going to continue this. This now brings in other streams of revenue, so you're not relying only on people walking in on foot by chance. Can you talk a little bit about why that was so important and how you were able to kind of make that shift to some of the online and some of the extension? Because a lot of people are scared. They're fearful. They feel like they don't have the capacity to do it. They're like, I don't know how to do it. Any advice on how you and your family were able to really find these other streams of revenue and do something digital, different, like you described?
Connie was the one who decided we were doing, we were going to do an online thing. Mm-hmm. And she, all summer is naturally the slowest time. Everybody's away. She took pictures of things and she created. The first website we did was Connie Did It All. Yeah. And it was awesome. People did. And then we kind of talked, and I went out into the community and knocked on doors of businesses, corporations, showed them our product. And we have quite a few accounts that, every year, we're doing their holiday gifts or their giving gifts. There's a couple that we have their account numbers on file, and they call me and say, I need, and I do it up. And the hardest thing was going out. Was about, I took chocolate groundbreaker because icebreaker, they could just right. They tasted the chocolate and they liked it. Even as far as the wine bottles, I took that to Super Buy Right on Route 33, and they looked at me like I had 10 heads. But I think we've been doing the bottles for 6 years. So she'll bring their bottles in and we dip them and wrap them, and then they have them. So if you don't have the time to wait, or you don't go there and buy it, but she believed in us, and they all said, okay, let's try it. And they're still doing it. And that's really cool.
Well, I congratulate you and your family. I mean, that's huge. Everything you're mentioning, like I said, it's that combination of, even though we're in this age of technology, it's okay, we got to do stuff online. It still goes back to, you have to do the work, just like we did way back when. Like you said, I knocked on doors, I made phone calls, I physically went and did the work, and that starts to bring in opportunities. And then you're now doing stuff online. And that's, in my opinion, why someone like 1-800-Flowers would reach out to you. You've done that work, things start to happen, when I congratulate you. That's huge for you and your team. Any advice though for people that, okay, I hear you, but I'm scared, or I don't know where to start, or I don't know what to do? What would you say to a brick and mortar business right now that is struggling to stay afloat, especially because of COVID? What's maybe a piece of advice you'd give them?
I would say don't give up, and maybe reach out to another business that's going through it. It's always seems better. It seems horrible when you're going through it, but when someone else is doing the same thing, and maybe someone can give you advice. It's always good. They say misery loves company, but it's not that you're miserable, but it's just like, it helps you're not alone. Nobody's alone, and everybody's trying to support each other. And you just do that.
Yeah. That openness and vulnerability, and like you said, that partnering, because like you mentioned with the flowers too, that person wasn't able to do it the way they could, and here's now a way they can make money and you can make money. And it's important for the community to and support.
You can't be afraid. Sometimes you're afraid. The other thing that we did is we've started doing a lot of work with nonprofits, and Senior Care Center Services is only one of them, but we go to their events and support them, and we're a vendor there. But there's others that we have gone to too, and you meet a lot of people, and you meet interesting people sometimes, and it might bring a connection. You never know, but you do what you can. There's a lot of people out there that are knocking on doors asking for money, but you do what you can for who you can do it for. And we do a lot with our own community, but we also go out, and we've met a lot of great people, and we have a lot of good friends because of it.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, as we're partnering with Senior Care Services for this particular episode, and as we mentioned earlier, they do so much for the local community. But one of the things that you've helped out with in the past is being able to be a vendor or donate some of your chocolates for some of their events. Can you talk about some of the ones that you've done in the past?
They did 2 that we went to, and then COVID shut down our events. trays of chocolates, and we're dessert vendor.
Yeah.
So that's what we're just one of the few vendors. They have so many people that go, restaurants and everything. It's a fun time.
Yeah. I think, being able to help nonprofits again locally, whatever you can do, whether it's a vendor or you're donating money or volunteering your time, there's so many different ways that you could be a part of that. And there is an event that Senior Care Services is having. It's a little whiles away. It is in November. It will be in person. Susan, do you want to tell us about that?
Well, I'm excited to say that Senior Services of Greater Princeton is going to hold their annual Bringing Neighbors Together Food and Wine Extravaganza. And it's going to be in person this year at the Princeton Marriott at Forestal on Wednesday, November 10th, 2021 from 6 to 9:30 p.m. It's always an honor, and I say that sincerely, for Corella's Chocolate and Gifts to participate in the food chefs savor exceptional wines, beers, spirits, and desserts. We do taste them all. We have to. It's an amazing event. They also have lots of door prizes and things that you can win. This year, we'll be honoring people: restaurateur John Procaccini, Mercer County Clerk Salome Carella Esquire, and Mara Andres. If you have any questions, if you'd like to be a sponsor, purchase together, I encourage you to call 609-921-8888 or go to www.seniorcareservicesgp.org. Please come out and join us, and I look forward to seeing everyone there. If you have any questions, I'll have these numbers, so you can always call the store if you forget the numbers I gave you, and I can give you the information to call.
Yeah, it's part of that I partner with Senior Care Services. We've been doing it for I think almost 6 months now. Is they really are about highlighting the great people in their community. How can we help them? How can we help the older adults, not only through volunteering or through events, but I think what I like about it is the emotional piece. How many people do live alone? So it's something that I also feel strongly about and feel passionate about. So if you're in New Jersey or Princeton, Senior Care Services is here, but it's also, there's global elements to it as well. So there's probably one near you as well if you're listening or watching. So if people want to learn more about Corella's Chocolates, they want to visit, where can they do that?
Well, they can come inside now. We're located on Nottingham Way, 2503 Nottingham Way, in the heart of Mercerville. We're right off 95. Or you can go and check out our website at corellaszchocolates.com.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Susan.
Thank you for having me, and thanks for coming, and it was fun.
Yes, we thank you so much for watching and listening, and I want to thank again Senior Care Services as well as our sponsors for this episode: Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Fox and Roach Realtors, Donna Murray, Pinky Shaw Mortgage Team at Fairway, Walsh Senior Solutions, On Air Brands, and Kathy and Mike Castellano. If you do want to learn more about Senior Care Services, you can go to their website, seniorcareservicesgp.org. If you want to listen to other episodes of this podcast, you can check out Ordinary People Doing Extraordinary Things. And we hope that you will join the event if you are local in New Jersey in November. And we thank you so much for watching and listening.